Kratos has been a staple in gaming history ever since he arrived on the PlayStation. And what really grew his popularity even more was God of War 2018. Why did this game cement Kratos as one of the greatest gaming characters of all time? And what made him one of the most likable protagonists in gaming history? I think in order to answer that question, you have to understand where Kratos started, where everything began, and who he was before the God of War that we know today. So, let's get into it. I'm Canned Ideas. You're an amazing audience, so I hope you stick around, enjoy the show, grab some popcorn, grab a Coca-Cola, and let's just sit here and enjoy me speaking, I guess. Please stay and watch, and like and subscribe if you like the video. If you don't like the video, comment down below meatloaf, or just comment down below meatloaf, either way. I don't know. Just stick around, enjoy the show. Let's just get into it. Kratos was a proud Spartan warrior who called upon the god Ares for help, which Ares gave Kratos the Blades of Chaos in exchange for Kratos being a servant of Ares. Blinded by his rage, Kratos kills his own daughter and wife and later finds out that Ares had tricked him to do it. He believed that he was a weapon and that he no longer needed a family. Kratos was then cursed to wear the ashes of his daughter and his wife forever. That is why Kratos has his iconic white skin, and I think that's one of the most iconic things about Kratos is his red tattoos and also his white skin. But I mean, that's just me personally. I think it's also a really good character design. But let's just get back into the story. Kratos then opens Pandora's box in order to get the power to kill a god. He kills Ares and then becomes the new god of war, but what he didn't know was that when he opens up Pandora's box, it actually had an effect on all the other gods, therefore making them crazy, evil, kind of like along those lines. There's a lot of tragic stuff that happens to Kratos, so I'm going to run through them really quickly, or else, unfortunately, we would be here for a long time. If there's one thing you have to know about Kratos is he's a very, very tragic character. He comes from a background of being raised as a Spartan very harshly. He lost his brother. He lost his family. He killed his family. He was forced to do things that he didn't want to do in order to do what he believed at the time was right. So Kratos is one of the most tragic characters, I would think, in gaming history. But let me go through it right now. He was forced to kill his own mother once, and then she was turned into a monster. He tries to save his brother, then his brother is murdered right in front of him by a god, only fueling Kratos' hate for gods. He also kills his sister when she jumps in the way of an attack that was meant to kill Zeus. After all this stuff happens, Kratos is fed up with gods entirely and just wants to get rid of them. So he makes a plan of attack to kill all the gods, which he does. Kratos goes and slowly, one by one, kills all the gods. And at the very end, there's the worst apocalypse that could ever happen because all the gods who control lightning, sun, etc. all died. And because of their deaths, there are curses put upon the earth. Kratos' last thing that he does in his Greek world is he releases hope. Which literally, I'm not even kidding, it's not even a joke. It's not like, oh, he made everybody feel hopeful about tomorrow. He literally sacrifices himself. He literally puts a sword in his chest in order to erupt hope for the remaining people and the remaining survivors. And after he does this, which in God of War 3, it is assumed that Kratos dies after this, and that was the end of Kratos. But we find out, thanks to comics, by the way. See how comic books have a role in this video? There's actually a God of War comic book that explains what happened to Kratos between God of War 3 and God of War 2018. And pretty much what happens is Kratos wanders through different mythologies, which in this case, it was an Egyptian mythology. He wanders through and pretty much explores and kind of starts to grow into the Kratos we know, but also obviously it's still God of War 3 Kratos. And that's where we land upon God of War 2018, which, as somebody who's played God of War 1 through 3 and God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, personally, I do like God of War 2018 more. But let me say this. I also want to bring up that the creator of God of War actually hates 2018 God of War and God of War Ragnarok. And the reason for that being is because he wanted Kratos to be this heartless killing machine, and in God of War 2018, that's not what happens. And I'll explain further more about what I mean, what I like about 2018, and all that kind of stuff. One last thing before we start talking about God of War 2018 is I want to talk about Kratos' life up to this point. Like I said earlier in the video, Kratos' life has been very, very difficult. It's been very hard. He was raised to be a heartless warrior. He was forced to make a deal with Ares in order to protect the Spartans. He's had to do a lot of things that he didn't want to do in order to do what he thinks is right. Did that make sense? I hope that made sense. And he's constantly consumed by rage. He had his wife and daughter that he loved, and he was tricked into killing them, which led to his rage. Anytime Kratos begins to trust someone or love someone, they are taken away from him, or he's forced to kill them. Through all the challenges that he's faced, there is only ever one solution in his mind, the only thing that he was ever good at, and that's killing. All the gods did was use Kratos as a weapon, and therefore that's all he ever saw himself was, as this killing machine monster. His whole life he had been raised, and he had been told by many other people, including gods and his father, etc., that he is this monster. His whole life he's been this monster, he's been this machine of chaos, this machine of anger, and all he's ever been good at is killing. That's it. That's all he's ever been good at. Kratos' story is a man who's consumed by his rage, and the only thing that he believes he's good at is killing. So now thinking back, Kratos is only ever been seen as this horrible human being, this horrible monster, this god of misfortune, this god of hate, this god of rage. And so therefore, when he leaves his pantheon, when he leaves Greek, he tries to find out if that's truly who he is. That is where we start 2018 God of War. And the game starts off with us seeing an older Kratos, a more calm Kratos, a Kratos that still feels like he's broken, a Kratos still looking for something more. We don't get to see a lot of what happened before this. Obviously, later on, we do find out that he met his wife and they had a son named Atreus, and in that time, she taught him how to love. She taught him how to remain calm and get control over your emotions and rage. And thanks to her, we get to see this new mature Kratos. Left with his son and trying to fulfill his wife's last wishes, they set out on a quest. One that requires Kratos to open up to his son, and one where he's forced to open up himself. In this journey of 2018, he's once again forced to choose between being the god killer that he's known for in order to protect his son, and he's also struggling with his past. Throughout this journey, we get to see Kratos trying to teach his son not to follow in his footsteps, while we get to see his growth and his self-control. This is no longer the same Kratos. This is no longer the man trying to kill and be rageful. This is a man who's trying to stay calm and grow. And in the end, he kills Baldur, not out of rage, but out of protection. And he tells his son of his past. And by doing this, he is able to overcome his past and accept that there is no longer a reason to be tied down by it. And I know that's kind of just a really quick summary of 2018 God of War. There's a lot in there that I skipped over, but really I just wanted to get the main focus of what makes this game so special. And what it really does at the end of the day is it really shows us how much Kratos has changed. Not only, obviously he has a cool beard, which I do love that character design. Trust me, I really do actually like that. I think that's really cool. It's sick. Honestly, I think it's kind of weird looking back now at Kratos' goatee. Okay, sorry. Off the point. What I think this game really shows us is how much Kratos is still struggling with his past, but how much he's realized what he's done in the past is wrong. And we get to see Kratos open up entirely. And like I said, I know I said he deals with his past a lot. And he definitely does. He definitely grows throughout the game. From the start to the finish, Kratos grows even more. At the beginning of the game, he was very standoffish against Atreus, his own son. But by the end of the game, their relationship grows and they do feel like a father-son finally after the whole game. they grow into that. And I really think that's what 2018 was about, is Kratos acknowledging his past and allowing himself to open up to others and explain that to them as well. And I think the whole point of 2018 was to just show Atreus and Kratos becoming a father-son relationship and growing together, which I think was the perfect foundation, because what 2018 does is pretty much just sets up the most perfect, volleyball spike ever, because God of War Ragnarok has to be one of my favorite sequels of all time. In God of War Ragnarok, we get to see another threat by Kratos, where the gods of the Norse mythology are scared of Kratos and want to control him. He is offered a peace treaty by Odin at the beginning of the game, but Kratos refuses to take this offer to be left alone, and I don't think that Kratos refused this offer because he wanted to kill all the Norse gods. I think he refused this offer because he didn't want to be tied down by another god. And if you look at his backstory, right, we get to see that Kratos has made deal after deal with gods, and every time he does, it ends horribly. He's either tricked, they either lie to him, etc. So by Kratos not accepting Odin's deal, I don't necessarily think it was because Kratos wanted to kill, every Norse god, or I think because Kratos hated Odin. I don't think it's any of that. I think, in a way, even saying no was a bit of a maturity for Kratos, because based off his past record, he knows that you can't really trust a god. And especially somebody like Odin, who we get to see throughout the first game be very sleazy. He messes with the Valkyries. He messes with all these people. So we know that Odin isn't a good guy, especially off the first game. So I feel like Kratos does this not because he wants to have war, but I think Kratos does this because he doesn't want to be tied down again by another god. Kratos throughout the whole game struggles with fighting them and repeating his past of killing gods, but he's conflicted because he wants to protect Atreus. Kratos is also afraid to repeat his past. He can't see the friends around him. He can't see how much he's changed. He ends up killing some of the gods, but not alone, and he doesn't do it out of rage or out of his own desires. He does it because he wants to protect the people of the realms. He wants to protect his friends. He wants to protect his son, and he doesn't do it out of selfish reasons or rage. He does it out of pure protection. And I think that's kind of the whole transition of Kratos in this game specifically, is that we get to see Kratos understand that he can use his strength, he can use his rage, he can use his abilities that he has to do good. He doesn't have to use those things as a negative way, but we get to see him use it in a positive way, in a way to protect the people that he loves. And I think that's really, really impactful. And at the end of the game, we get to see the future of Kratos. We get to see that he is worshipped as a god of protection, ending Kratos' arc as he's completely changed and overcoming the image of being this god killer. He gets to get over this image of what he once was. We finally get to see Kratos completely come out of that whole idea, that whole mindset. He finally gets to overcome his past completely this time, and we get to know that Kratos has a good future ahead of him. He has a good relationship with his son. He has a good relationship with the people. He has a good relationship with the other gods, and for once in Kratos' life, he's good. And that's a really nice feeling, especially after all we get to see Kratos go through. I feel like God of War Ragnarok is such a good conclusion to Kratos' story. And I didn't really write it in my notes because I know it's kind of still fairly new when this video comes out. Not really. It's been a couple months now. But there was additional things added to God of War. If you don't know, God of War Valhalla. It's pretty much a free DLC where we get to see Kratos further go beyond and completely heal by himself. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, so actually just screw it. If you don't want to be spoiled about God of War Valhalla, skip to a minute ahead or 2 minutes ahead. I'll have a timestamp somewhere right here. So yeah, skip ahead to that time. What I really like about God of War Valhalla is it's the actual bow on top. Like the knots are tied, everything's finished. And I know I said that like 5 times already, but this truly feels like the ultimate conclusion to Kratos overcoming his past image, literally. Throughout all of Valhalla, we get to see Kratos overcome his past mistakes, his past things that have pretty much haunted him. We get to see him literally go through them and pretty much work. It's like therapy, really. It's fighting therapy. If there was any way to explain it, he literally goes through his past traumas and he reasons and deals with them and acknowledges them, works through it, forgives himself for the past actions that he's done. Which it's really a beautiful story, and it feels very, very final to Kratos' story. I don't know what the next game will hold for him. I don't know how big of a role he'll have in the next game, but I feel like Kratos as a character has finally come full circle. So now, why do we like Kratos? Why do we cheer for him? And I think everybody has their own reasons, especially depending on the game you started with. Like I mentioned earlier before, the original creator of God of War actually hates 2018 and Ragnarok. The reason being is because he created Kratos to be this heartless monster, this cool, like, never gives a crap kind of attitude, killing everybody left and right kind of deal, which you can definitely tell that's obviously what Kratos is from game 1 to 3, but I don't think that's fair to hate on the new games. I think there is a small group of people who like the original God of Wars, which is fine. I'm not trying to dismiss how they feel about it, but I think hating on where Kratos ends up as a character is kind of lame, to be honest. Because as much as I love the original God of War, like beat 'em up, like mash, like you're overpowered, like nothing can stop you, like screw what the gods say, like I'm gonna do my own thing. I enjoy that. I enjoy that. But as much as I enjoy that, I love the final turn of Kratos' arc. I love 2018. I love Ragnarok. And the reason for that is me personally. I feel like for many of us, we were given this identity by other people, by the world. We have been put in a certain place. People have said we are destined to do these things. You're good at this. You're good at that. Like, this is who you're going to be. And a lot of people have a say in our lives. A lot of people get to tell us, oh, you're not good at math, so therefore you're going to work at McDonald's the rest of your life. You know how many teachers I had that said, oh, you like to draw, well, you're going to end up doing absolutely nothing. Or you like to, you like to read and write books. Well, writing books is stupid. You're not going to do anything. And to all the people out there who have ever heard this, it sucks. I mean, there's no way to put it anywhere else. It sucks. And it feels like an overwhelmingly heavy curse that's been put on you. Something you don't want to be or something you don't want to do. And people may do this based on your past as well. Oh, you used to do this, or you used to be addicted to this, or you're known for doing this. And people place these stamps on you. People place these ideas of who you are onto you. And I feel like in a lot of ways we take that on. We take those thoughts, those things that people think we are, and we take them and we consume them. It feels hard to break them. It feels hard to overcome them, to overcome these people, these places, our past. It's so hard because it feels like no one wants you to change. It feels like everybody wants you to stay in the bubble or the thing that you're known for. If you're known for something, like, you are stuck there forever. And that's why I feel like people like Kratos, because we can relate to that idea of feeling stuck. We can relate to this idea of feeling consumed by our past, consumed with the ideas that people have of us. It's scary, it's daunting, and it feels so hard to change sometimes. No matter how hard you want to, it feels like everybody's constantly bringing up your past, or bringing up your failures, or bringing up your mistakes, and telling you who you should be. But I'm here to tell you, like Kratos, the reason why we like him, the reason we can relate to Kratos, is because he overcame that destiny. He said no. He said, I'm not going to be this monster that people want me to be. I'm not going to be this killing machine that people want me to be. I'm not going to be this heartless monster that people want me to be. No matter what, I was raised to be this monster, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to run from my past. I'm going to overcome it. I'm not going to be afraid of my future. I'm going to overcome it, and I'm not going to let this trauma haunt my life and haunt my future relationships and haunt my friendships and haunt my dreams. I'm not going to let that stop me. And that's the reason why I personally love the character of Kratos. It's because I feel like I can relate to him. I feel like I see Kratos go through all this hardship, these hard times, and he made it through, and he never stopped trying to change or improve himself. He never let other people stop him. He never let his past completely stop him. He found love. He found happiness. He found joy. He found friends. Even with his past mistakes, even with the whole world wanting him to be something, he overcame it. And that's the reason why I like Kratos. And I think that's the reason why a lot of us like Kratos, because we got to see him change. We got to see him grow. It's also kind of a little funny that the original creator of God of War didn't like how Kratos ended up. Does anybody kind of think that's a little ironic, that the whole point of Kratos is overcoming the ideas of what people want for him, and even his actual real life creator didn't like where Kratos ended up? It's kind of funny when you think about it. So I've been Canned Ideas. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys like this format. I'm trying to combine what I've done before and what I'm doing right now. And let me know if you enjoy it. Let me know if you agree with me, if you love Kratos just as much as I do. And let me know what you guys would like to see next. I hope you did enjoy the video. And I hope you really, truthfully, come here. I believe in you. I believe that you can change and grow. No matter what anybody says about you, no matter what anybody said about you, no matter what your past looks like, no matter what people are saying is going to happen in your future, you can change that. You can overcome that. Don't let anybody stop you from growing. Don't let anybody stop you from reaching your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you who you are supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. So you live with your choices. You live with everything. So if you want to do something, go for it. If you have a dream, go for it. Don't let anybody stop you. I believe in you. I'm Canned Ideas. Thank you for watching the video. Have a good rest of your night, day, week, year. And I hope you stick around.